Hey, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good to meet you, man.
Good to meet you. I'm excited for this.
Awesome. Where's home for you?
It's Richmond, Virginia, but I'm at the beach right now. I'm in Holden. So it's
Oh,
my room is a little dark, but
no,
uh
it's not bad.
okay.
Looks good. You got a beach vacation ahead of you?
Yeah, we just got here. So we've been doing a lot of traveling and everyone's just showing up right around now. So
Oh,
um
awesome. How
yeah.
far is how far is the beach from your house?
It was like 5 hours. It was 5 hours, I think. But my dad has an electric car, so we had to charge. So
Gotcha.
but my mom got out here quickly because she has a gas car, so she got here first.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Good stuff.
yeah. Well, I'll introduce you and I'll introduce the show, and we can get into it.
Awesome. Sounds good, man.
Do you have any hard stops, or are we good?
Like I probably got like a half hour. Does that work?
Okay, half hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Cool.
Let me make sure I set a timer because they usually go a little longer than that, so I just make sure I get the questions done. Okay, so maybe around 8.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Lax Locker Room. Today's guest is one of the biggest names in lacrosse. Paul Carcaterra, I
Yup.
think. Okay, is an ESPN Lacrosse Analyst, a host for the Lacrosse Network, and someone who's covered some of the biggest games in the sport. Before broadcasting, Paul's a national championship at Syr was a national champion at Syracuse, where he helped lead the Orange to the 2000 NCAA title. I'm excited to hear about his journey, his favorite moments covering the game, and what his advice he has for young players. Let's welcome Paul to the show. So thank you
Thanks,
so.
man.
Yeah,
This is
thank you.
it's great to join you, man. It's exciting. We've exchanged a bunch of emails and finally get to chat.
Absolutely, I'm excited. So I know you played for a national championship at Syracuse. What's one lesson from your playing days that you still use every week?
It's a great way to start. I would say being vulnerable as a teammate, the more that you can allow your teammates to learn more about you and your authentic self and just putting your guard down, the better you will be, the better your team will be. And if everyone kind of just captures that concept and philosophy, the team's goals and dreams are limitless.
Absolutely. What were some of your goals that you had at Syracuse, like from freshman to your senior year?
When I was growing up, Syracuse was at the top of college lacrosse. You had the Gate brothers and John Zilberti, and they were winning national championships. So I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to play for Coach Roy Simmons Jr. I wanted to be on a team that was playing at the end of the season, the
Mm,
last game of every college season. So that was a big goal of mine. I think it was important for me to be a contributing factor.
yeah.
I grew up in a town. I always tell people it's like, Indiana basketball, Texas football, Canadian hockey town. Yorktown lacrosse, where I grew up in New York, was a really, really big lacrosse town. And a lot of my idols were the players who came before me. And I was fortunate to have a bunch of role models, and some of them went to Syracuse. So I wanted to be just
Yeah.
like them. But I also wanted to carve out my own path, and I wanted to make sure that I was someone that was, an individual, not from a selfish standpoint, but more from just an impacting the game perspective. So it was really important for me to challenge for national championships with my teammates, but also have a really good career where I come back to Yorktown, the next
Yeah.
generation, and the young kids would look up to me.
Absolutely. And how did you look up to them? Kind of like you said, how did you look up to like the Gate brothers and take some of their skills and implement it into your game?
Yeah, I think, the Gate brothers were so creative that they just put the sport in a position where there were no boundaries and you could try anything. So I think
Yeah.
that was probably the biggest thing going to Syracuse after the Gate brothers practices were very freelance oriented.
Mhm.
Not to say that we didn't work hard on the X's and O's and a lot of the schemes of the game, but I think people who played at Syracuse after the Gates realized that the players before them, being the Gates and that generation of Tom Marechek and John
Yeah.
Sperry, they pushed the envelope. So like you were always trying to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, meaning like you're innovating, you're trying things, you're doing things maybe that you wouldn't have if they never set the bar so high.
Right. And obviously that worked out well because you won a national championship. Um, did you ever imagine you'd become one of the voices of lacrosse?
No, not at all. I loved the game of lacrosse at a young age. A lot like you. How old are you?
I'm 14.
Yeah, when I was 14, I was so into the game. Even at like 12, I was so into the game and I would study the game and I would always like watch players and check out like all their little nuances and how they
Yeah.
approached the game and their stick skills and their equipment and all that. I was like a lax junkie as a little kid.
Okay.
So when I got out of college, I started teaching and coaching. I was a high school lacrosse coach, a head coach at like the age of 23.
Mhm.
And I just loved being around the game. And then when an opportunity came up to broadcast, because I had some experience at Syracuse with some broadcasters, and I was friends with some people and in the industry, and they were like, we need a lacrosse analyst at CBS College Sports at the time, which was CSTV. Um, I didn't think about ever doing that until someone called me one night. And then once I got the call, and I started calling games, I got hooked really, really quickly. So at that point, I just wanted to be the best that I could be, and I wanted to impact the sport as much as I possibly could. Not only from breaking the game down and being an analyst. But for me, it's never been about like trying to be the voice of the sport. I've always pushed myself to tell stories and to humanize the players. And for someone who's watching a game to be really excited and to have positive energy around the game. That's always been
Yeah.
my goal. It's never been about being the voice of the sport
Right.
or what people think of me and what pecking order with other lacrosse analysts. It's more
Right.
about like what am I doing that's different, maybe that hasn't really happened before, that's true to me. And that's the storytelling aspect. That's why I do a lot of the pieces on ESPN or the through X's or the relaxing pieces that I've done over the years. A lot of that just comes from me wanting to tell stories and me putting
Yeah.
players out there and creating a platform for the sport that people can connect with.
Absolutely. Was it always a big dream to get into broadcasting, or how did that come about?
It wasn't a dream. Kind of what I was explaining before. It happened. I was coaching lacrosse, and when I got the phone call, the day before I got that phone call, if you asked me like, "Are you going to be a broadcaster?" I would have said like, "No. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?" But when the opportunity came, I just remember the first game I ever did. It was in 2004. It was Army against Navy, and I had no clue what I was doing. And I went up to the booth, and I didn't know any of like the specifics around broadcasting or the way that a show is formatted. I just went up and called the game cold, but I remember feeling the same kind of like adrenaline rush as a player. And when I left that game, I said to myself, like, I need to do more of this. So I
Yeah.
became very ambitious in seeking out more opportunities. And when those opportunities came, I just, I took it and ran.
Absolutely. And that's around passion. Like you want to do it. And, one of the best things is like, when I watch PLO games, I hear your voice and it's like, like you always you make the goals like that much more fun.
Yeah.
When Brendan O'Neill scores, it's like, you make it just like 10 times more electric than it already is. So,
Oh, thank you. No, and
yeah.
that's the goal. Like I want to motivate, young people like you, and I want people to feel like, they could do that one day. And I also want, the people who are watching at home to know that I'm excited about it because I am. I mean, like that's who I am in life. It's not like I turn on a broadcasting switch. I'm an energetic person. If I'm coaching a kid or I'm teaching someone like you how to shoot, I'm gonna be loud. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be, in a position where we're blessed to be doing this stuff.
Absolutely. What was your welcome to ESPN moment when you realized I've made it?
Oh, that's a great question. I was doing games for ESPN for, a while before this happened, but I remember it was 2012. It was the national championship game, and I just remember when I was on the field before the game and they were singing the national anthem and they had like that massive flag on the field that covers the entire
Yeah.
field almost.
Yeah.
It dawned on me, and I was doing ESPN games and I was in the studio in Bristol and I was doing a lot of stuff before that, but I remember
Yeah.
that specific time. That was a moment I was like, wow, like this is a big deal. This is Memorial Day. This is the national championship. This is the national anthem. It's on ESPN. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people watching. I just remembered like that was a moment I was like, this is real.
Yeah, this is unreal for sure, especially since it's national championship too.
Yes, for
Um,
sure.
so you've covered lacrosse for so many years. What's the biggest change you've seen in the game?
I'd say the pace of play. When I first started calling the games were much slower because there wasn't a shot clock.
Yeah,
I think the pace of play and the excitement around that would definitely be probably the biggest change. But the second biggest change that might even go and challenge the first biggest change is the overall skill of the players. Like
yeah,
these players get better and better every year. They get bigger, they get faster, they get stronger, they get more skilled. The stuff they do with their sticks and the shooting, the game just advances every single year because as much as the players get better and bigger and faster and stronger, the equipment becomes way more advanced and the technology behind stick
yeah,
is better. The way people are stringing pockets more advanced. So like
yeah,
the game gets pushed every single year on that front. But I would say the rules, and if you were just to watch a game and say 2010, the national championship between Notre Dame and Duke was 6-5 in overtime. Like we don't have 6-5 national championship games anymore.
yeah,
The
yeah.
games
No.
is just faster.
Yeah, a lot faster. And I really like the shot clock also because,
Oh, the shot clock's awesome.
it makes it so like every single offensive possession has pace. And especially in the PLO, it's like even faster than college. So,
Yep,
they got to do something quick and they have to make it work every single time.
for sure.
Um, how much of a broadcast is planned versus freestyle?
It's a wonderful question. So I go into a game really understanding the tendencies of teams. I'm really caught up with the stats and the numbers. But their games, I'm going to be honest with you, like I rarely look at my notes. I don't script much at all. I feel like to be my authentic self, I have to react and trust my instincts and make sure that like I'm seeing the game in that moment because no moment in lacrosse can be planned perfectly. So
Right,
I can't put myself in a position to feel like I need to know certain things. Even in the open, when we practice it, the rehearsal could be different than the real one, just based on
right.
what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, the way that I react off the play-by-play person. So there's so much of lacrosse from my job's perspective that I study and
Okay.
watch to the point where like if I'm doing a just say like a North Carolina Virginia game, if you switch the jerseys up, like I know who the players are. Like I watch enough, I know the tendencies, I know the way they cradle, I know how big they are, I know who the players are. Like you put Syracuse jersey on Dom Petramala. I know the way he cradles, and that's not him. He plays for North Carolina. Like I
Yeah,
know all of that, and I know all of the major statistical trends. But once the game starts, I'm not scripted at all. I kind of
yeah.
I go off the cuff.
Yeah, and that's like I feel like important because when you have it all scripted, like I'm working on that for my podcast. Like I have questions set, but I'm trying to get to the point where it's like I just ask the people to come on and I just think of what I want to say and kind of just go off of that compared to having like written
Yeah, no,
questions.
that's really important. That's mature and smart of you too, because the way it should be is you should be prepared with a lot of questions, but the reality is sometimes the best information comes when you're least expecting, or it might be something I say that you follow up with a question that you didn't even have written down.
Yeah, for sure. And like this, like how do you decide who's going like under the helmet, like the mini mic? How do you decide who goes under the
Well,
helmet?
our producers, we talk during the week and during our meetings, we kind of establish like who we're gonna target. That's like a production decision. That's not just me.
Okay.
But like when it comes to like the questions, if they're in the breakdown booth, like those are my questions. That's
Yeah.
something I'm thinking of. It's nothing planned because that week I don't even know who's going to be in the breakdown booth based on, it's who's making plays and who did something really good that we want to talk about. So
Yeah.
the production team definitely has a big fixture in establishing like mic'd up players because the technology behind it and they have to put the mic on those players before the game.
Yeah.
But a lot of a lot of the questions and who we talk to at half times and in between the quarters, that stuff is based on how the game's flowing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like Joey Spallina is a good one. He could you could probably talk to him at halftime, and he could have like 5 goals, or you may talk to someone else who has 5 goals. It all
Yeah,
depends on who's doing
exactly.
what, and just like how the game is being played.
Yeah, a game is a story, right? And the characters change every single week and every single game.
Yeah, although is very consistent. CJ Kurz, he's
Yeah,
been
he's
consistent.
he's awesome.
He is so
DJ
fun to
Kirst
watch.
is he's averaging over 4 goals a game. He's been so dynamic, and
Yeah,
I love about his game. And for a young player like you, what position do you play?
I play attack and midi.
Yeah, you should watch him as much as possible because as
Yeah,
good as he is with the ball in his stick, he's equally effective off ball. He's constantly
absolutely.
moving, and he's so hard to cover because as good as Brennan O'Neill might be,
Yeah,
he's like a dodger, right? Like he goes to the rack and does those things. You don't see him moving off ball like CJ Kirst.
yeah.
Brennan O'Neill does some things that no one else in the world can do, but the reality is CJ Kirst has got like a complete game, and it helps that he plays with Michael Sowers, who I think, could be an MVP too.
Absolutely. Yeah, Michael Sowers, like I think TLN posted Michael Sowers and CJ Kurz are like the dynamic duo that
Oh
it is.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
especially this year too. And I
Yep.
think they're what, like 6-3 or something like that? Six
They're
and
up to 7-3.
7-3. Yeah, they just won.
Yeah.
Um what's been your favorite game you've called for ESPN and what made it so special?
Great question. There's probably two of them. I think the Maryland North Carolina championship game in 2016, that was an overtime game. That game just had so much tension and so much back and forth. And Chris Cloutier from North Carolina scored the game-winning goal in overtime. That was historic and a great moment. And then
Yeah.
seeing Joe Bresci on the field like right after the game and being able to talk to him and interview him was a great moment. And I would also say the Virginia Maryland game in 2021.
Okay, I was there. That game was
Yeah, at
crazy.
Hartford. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that
It
game was
was.
amazing. And it was big for the sport too, because that was the first year coming off of COVID and we didn't have a championship in 2020. And that game came down to the wire. It's that last
Oh, it was
Luke
crazy.
Weirman's last shot. And that game was epic.
It was epic, yeah. And what's funny is, so both my parents went to UVA, right? But
Nice.
my uncle, he went to Maryland, and his wife went to UVA. So
Oh wow.
there's a lot of rivalry between,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah. And my uncle's brother, his twin brother, was a defender at Maryland. So even
Oh
more,
wow.
yeah.
That's cool. A lot of
Um,
storylines.
yeah. What's something fans watching on TV don't realize goes on behind the scenes during a broadcast?
A lot of talking with the producers. Like there's constant conversations you don't hear. Like we're in talkback and we're timing up packages or we're telling the cameramen what to shoot. And we're in constant contact with the producer in terms of like when we're going to breaks or what video we're going to see or what graphics we're going to see. Like there's so much conversation going on in a game that you can't hear that I'm saying I hit a talkback button to the truck and we're always talking. So if you don't hear me like on air talking,
Yeah,
not all the time, but there's a decent chance I'm in talkback talking to the producer about like what's coming up next or
yeah.
what I want to see built in terms of video.
Absolutely. So during your through X interviews, who has stood out the most to you and why?
Oh, that's an impossible question. There's been so many great ones.
Yeah.
Wow. I really enjoyed spending time with Michael Sowers back in the day when he was
Okay.
yeah, he was awesome. Just
You've done Corner McAfee, Brennan O'Neill.
yeah.
You didn't see no, yeah, you
I
did
did
CJ
see
Curry.
CJ Kirst,
Joyce
Pat
Marino.
Spencer. It's great that I did Pat Spencer. He's in the
Yeah.
NBA now.
Yeah.
That was a really cool one. Connor Fields, I have a soft spot for him because I love him as a person. He's such a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And my daughter wore number 5 because of Connor Fields, and we got to know him. So he was one like each through X has a special part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you ask me like CJ Kurtz, I think of like the family component and his brothers and how that was
Yeah.
the storyline. Or if it's Connor Schellenberger, it's like the local prodigy who's at UVA. Like every through X, and Chloe Humphrey this year I did a through X on. It's like
Yeah.
this generational talent that the college game's never seen. Like every every through X has a different theme to it. Joey
Yeah.
Spallina, I did a through X, and I've done so many through X's over the years with the greatest players. Like it's
Yeah.
almost impossible to pick one.
Absolutely. And I think one of my favorites is probably the Brennan O'Neill one. It was just such a like interesting video, and I love when that one came. That was a great
Yeah,
one.
that one. So like, if you were to ask me the theme of that, it's just like power and freakish skills that like the game really never sees. Like
Oh
that,
yeah.
like the way he yanks the ball and the way that like he how strong he is. Like that through X with him, I walked away saying like, wow, like you don't see dudes like this much.
Yeah, I always remember one thing, and you say, "Wow, he's like the Incredible Hulk," is what you say.
Yeah, it's like the Incredible Hulk with a lacrosse
Yeah,
stick. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Um, has a player ever completely surprised you after meeting them?
You that's an interesting question. Like, yeah, like I think a lot of players surprise me at how well they see the game, right? And how much they study the game. Uh,
Yeah,
so like I also always have like an opinion on someone, and a lot of times it's not true, or it's not that it's a negative thing, but like
right.
you go down to Princeton, you do a through X with Coulter Mackesy, you think of Princeton, you think of like probably this smart guy who maybe is going to go on and become like, this big businessman. And like you go down there and you realize he is a complete lacrosse junkie, right? So like,
Yeah,
and he strings sticks and he does everything that, a lacrosse person who just loves the game 24/7 would do. So I think
yeah,
there's always a there's always a perception I have of someone, but I'm open-minded enough to always let their true self in.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think they all surprise me. But the common theme with lacrosse that's super interesting to me, and it's great, and it makes it a blessing, is everyone is like so gracious with their time. I've never met like I haven't spent much time with too many jerks in the sport, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Like everyone loves the game and everyone wants to help each other, and everyone's proud to be part of the sport of lacrosse. There's
yeah.
not as many egos in the game as you would think. Like
Sure.
I look at a guy like Connor Schellenberger, like he's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. Same with
Yeah,
Fields. Like these guys they're great, and like they're super competitive, and they all have a switch, right? They wouldn't be great if they didn't have a switch,
yeah,
and how they could turn from like the nicest guy in the world to someone who just goes after it in a game.
yeah.
But I think the sport's in really good hands because the superstars are great people.
Absolutely. What's the best locker room or behind the scenes moment you've witnessed?
The best locker room I've seen, the best facility that I've seen is actually in the women's game. It's Clemson.
Mm,
Clemson women's lacrosse has the best lacrosse facility in the country. The locker
okay.
room, the field, it overlooks the lake, and the recovery center that they have. Like everything Clemson women's lacrosse has just tells you like they're serious about the game, and
Yeah.
they're behind the game. So I would say in the women's game, it's definitely Clemson, and it's the best in all of lacrosse, men.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Looking ahead 5 to 10 years, where do you see the sport going?
I think the sport is at a really interesting place because in 2028, the Olympics could really catapult the game and take it to another level. I think if the Olympics really takes off, I think you're going to see some changes in the game where sixes is played a lot more. Because let's be
Mm,
honest, like in a lot of sports, the Olympics is the goal, right? Like the Olympics
right,
is lacrosse at its highest is going to be the Olympics because that's where the world is going to see it.
right,
So if the world sees a great lacrosse version, in this case sixes, the rest of the world is going to want to see more of that. And I think the United States, as a leader in lacrosse, will have to adapt. And I think we're going to see a lot more sixes. If the Olympics is what I think it could be for the sport of lacrosse, I think it's going to trickle down to the youth. And I personally feel sixes should be played at a much younger age to begin with because there's
Okay.
more touches, everyone's engaged. I find like when you look at youth lacrosse and fifth graders are playing with poles and it's 10 on 10, no one's getting touches. I feel like sixes is a an easier game to accommodate everyone. Everyone plays offense, everyone plays defense. It's fast, it's fun.
Yeah.
There's no specialized aspect to the game. So I could see the game of lacrosse changing and sixes being way bigger. I'm not saying the college game is going to change to sixes in 5 years,
Right.
but I think if the Olympics takes off lacrosse wise, I think the youth will start playing sixes more as well.
For sure. And I think one of the good things about sixes is like there's only one face off. Like
Yeah.
I like when the goalie just picks up. It speeds up the like PLL is already fast, but like you know when the goalie just picks up and goes the other way, it makes it
Yeah, it's really, really fast. But
yeah.
the most important aspect of that is the fact that, you know, you're not having stoppage, right? Like it's constant action
Yeah.
basketball, and like every team has an opportunity to counter a possession, just like in football. You score, then you kick off to the other team. Like there's that opportunity where in
Right.
lacrosse right now, a face-off player or a draw specialist in women's lacrosse can prohibit the other team from ever touching the ball.
Right. Yeah. Like like if you have an unbelievable face off guy, you could just win and score every time and
Yeah.
that's just it. That's yeah, like sixes is I think it's really fun. I went to the PLL sixes and it was really fun.
Oh
It was,
yeah, it's
it was a
awesome.
lot of fun. Yeah.
Yep.
What's the craziest thing you've seen during a live broadcast?
That's a good question. The craziest thing I've seen in a live broadcast, well, like, wow. The craziest thing on the field that I've ever seen would probably be like Connor Fields between the legs. That
Uh,
was the craziest
yeah.
thing I think I've ever seen in a broadcast. But I've seen some nutty stuff like full field passes where guys catch the ball at the end of a quarter and score and like no one's expecting it. Like the crazy things on the field, they're like endless, right? The dramatic plays that you see or record breaking stuff. Um, in all my years, I haven't seen like a skunk run on a field or anything crazy like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, you see crazy fans all the time and people doing some silly stuff, but at the end of the day, I think I look at crazy as good. Like if you're pushing the envelope on the field and something crazy happens, that's good because that's like inspiring
Yeah.
another generation. But yeah, I see crazy all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Like that Connor Fields goal, that was unbelievable. Like
Yes.
I don't think that'll ever happen again, probably.
Craziest thing about that, though, if you go back to the video of that before he does the move, I'm saying, watch it, watch it, watch it, because like I felt like something crazy was going to happen. Like go back to that highlight when we're done
Yeah.
talking, and before he even shoots that, I say, watch him, watch him, watch him, because I just could tell like he was going to do something crazy with his
Yeah.
with his stick.
Yeah. It was unreal shot. Like the power he created with the speed on the ball,
Yep.
it was unbelievable. Um, what's your favorite part about broadcasting a game?
I would say the teamwork. I love working, if it's whether it's with Anish and Quint or Chris Cotter or Drew Carter or Jay Alter, Joe Beninati. I've worked with so many people in lacrosse. I think it's the teamwork within the broadcast and
Mm,
getting the best out of my partner or partners in on the show, or just understanding like the game is a story and celebrating all the players and and what they bring to the teams. And I think that's probably my favorite part of the broadcast. But I also
yeah.
think like outside of calling games, my favorite part of broadcasting is actually like storytelling and doing things like the through X's or the relaxins or the cross that I do with Charlotte North. I really love that project because we talk about men's and women's lacrosse and like those things outside of the game that are part of our broadcasts. I
Yeah.
really love because it's storytelling.
Absolutely. What's the prep like before broadcasting a big game?
You know, the prep for me in lacrosse isn't too crazy just because I'm a complete lacrosse junkie and I watch so
Yeah.
much. So I don't have to spend a lot of time like catching up because I feel like I'm always caught up because I'm watching all the time. So if I'm not
Right.
working a game, I'm watching a game.
Okay.
I don't spend a ton of time like trying to close the gap and catching up on tape.
Yeah.
More my broadcast prep is numbers. It's building out my boards and making sure that I have all the information. Now, 90% of that stuff that I write down or I have ready, I don't even use.
Yeah.
It's got to be ready in case it matches the moment. Like I never try to force feed stuff. Like I don't, when I was younger as a broadcaster, I did it more where I would feel like, oh, if I prep for this, if I study this, if I put this down, like I want to just get it in. Like I don't care about that now.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that whatever I bring into the broadcast fits that moment and I'm not going to
Right.
force it. I'd rather not use 90% of my stuff, but the 10% that I have really matches a moment.
Right. It has to be perfect because if it's not, like people are
Yeah.
watching, be like, oh yeah, this is random.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
how has your TLN like through X's taught you about the game?
That's a great question. So I think what it's taught me about the game is most of the players, all of them, to be honest with you, for that matter, are really smart lacrosse players. I take away something from every one of them.
Yeah.
And I think it changes the way I teach the game to some younger folks. Like for example, Pat Spencer would tell me like he wouldn't roll dodge as much, and he got that from basketball because if you roll dodge, you lose your sight line and you have to like recalibrate and find your head. So he was telling me like he would like to always make his moves unless it's like far in space with more of like a crossover or a split.
Yeah.
Crossover being basketball split. So his head's up and he's seeing the field and he
Right.
sees the defense rather than a roll dodge, which is really big in lacrosse. He didn't want to do as much because it affected his sight line and he had to kind of recalibrate and find the field again. So like
Right.
every one of those players has a little something. Like Connor Schellenberger, in terms of the spacing in his dodge and why he likes to make his move really far from the defender. Because when he makes, if he has a defender sitting on him, he likes to make the move far from the defender. So when he comes out of that break, whatever it's, if it's a split or a hard plant foot, whatever it is, by the time he gets out of that move, he's at full speed on a defender who's waiting for him.
Right.
So, like, if you give an attackman like Connor Schellenberger space, he fights space with space, if that means. So, like, if the defender's tight to him, he's not making the same move. If the defender's far from him, he's making that move with enough distance. So by the time he makes that move,
He's got speed.
he still has room, and then he's at full speed.
Right.
So, like, every single one of those players from a through X give me those moments, whether it's Spencer with the roll dodge, Schellenberger with his space dodging.
Yeah. And they all have high IQ, which teaches you probably a
Yeah.
ton.
They're like
Um,
quarterbacks. They're like
yeah,
quarterbacks in football. They see the whole field.
absolutely. Especially Connor Schellenberger. Him at X is like,
Yeah.
he's him
Yeah.
and Xander Dixon are like it's like bread and butter.
Yep.
Um, if you could interview anyone from the PLO for TLN, who would it be and why?
If I was to do like a through X on anyone in the PLL,
Yeah,
it would be Rob Pennell.
Rob Pannell.
And the reason being is because I have so much respect for Rob. He's a good friend of mine, but I also feel like he would be able to tell young players like you and everyone else so much about the sport. And I think I would know how to ask him those questions so he was able to portray that information in a very digestible way. I think he has a wealth of information. I think a through X on Rob Pennell would be out of this world.
Yeah, the question mark move is probably one of the greatest moves like in lacrosse,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I've used it a few times, and that's like one of the things my dad always encouraged me to do is do the question mark
Do the
because
question mark. And like the beauty of Rob Pennell's question mark is the Kavanaughs have their own little spin to
oh
it
yeah, you
where
get the
they jump in
Kavanaugh.
the air.
Yeah,
Right? It's like the exclamation point kind of like
yeah,
they do like Chris Kavanaugh could do like a jumping question mark.
yeah,
So
and
that's what's great about players like Rob Pennell. Like he inspires the next generation and then they add their own little twist.
absolutely, and it makes it their own. He
Yeah.
starts it, they add on to it, and everyone will just add. What excites you most about what the Lacrosse Network is doing for the sport?
I think for them, it's like they have a personality.
Mhm.
So as much as they show great highlights, they're not afraid to be a little edgy. They're not afraid to be a little funny. Like I like their personality. I feel like it's a platform that not only just shows the lacrosse world great stuff, but it shows it in an authentic way, like in kind of in a non-traditional way. Like I feel like TLN is a character almost, right? And
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like a perfectly squared character, right? Like
right.
it's okay to dabble here, dabble there, and I think their coverage is great too. And what I like about TLN is you get a PLL feel to it, you get a college feel to it,
Yeah.
you get a high school feel to it. Like they kind of encapsulate all of that in a fun and authentic way.
Yeah, they hit everything and like, they do youth clips. Like if you send in their clip, and they see it,
Exactly.
they
Yeah.
they're gonna post it, and that excites like me, because if I get a crazy clip, I'd want to send it to them, and it's just
Yeah.
it excites you to do better. Um,
100%.
does ESPN ever plan to experiment how they broadcast the games? Like, is there a better way to experience the games on TV?
We've done some different things. Like, I called a game one time with the play-by-play on the field. I think that was a really cool thing. We've experimented with some cameras where we cut the game really tighter and like more on top of the action.
Yeah,
I think it's hard in lacrosse because if you cut the camera work too tight, sometimes you miss like the big end-to-end transition action. So there's certain things that you can't get too cute and you can't get too risky with. But there's always experiments for sure. We've done things when I've been on the sideline where we show the face off like from, my shoulder when I'm in the restraining or I'm in the penalty box
yeah,
or the substitution box. Those things are really cool. I think when we get into the NCAA playoffs, when we have Skycam, like that's
yeah.
really cool and you could see like the game from a different perspective. Um, those require a lot of resources, but on championship weekend when we have Skycam and stuff, that stuff's awesome.
Oh, it's all yeah. And it's just the best way to watch college lacrosse too.
Yes.
What would make lacrosse more appealing to someone who's never watched before?
I think, we're doing these things in the PLL where, someone like you probably looks at it, you're like, oh, I know what that means. But like we're doing these breakdowns of the positions. So like the new viewer has an idea of like the rules and what the positions are and what they do. So I think that could help expand, the viewership. It could expand the game as a whole. The more simple we could keep things too. Like I think sometimes as the game evolves, we have too many rules and we have too many specifications around the game. I think simplifying the game is always the best way to do it.
Yeah,
Um, to me, it's got to be really, really easily received from everyone. Like I want a dad that never played lacrosse, whose kids playing lacrosse, and maybe the dad was a baseball player or a
yeah.
basketball.
That's me. That's me. My dad
Yeah,
played
yeah.
baseball. Yeah,
I want your dad to be able to watch a lacrosse game and be able to pick it up quick. So, like,
right.
how do we simplify the game for the new fan who has sports experience?
But not lacrosse.
Yeah, and not lacrosse. And we just can't get too crazy with the rules and the specification.
Yeah, and that's just like you just have to experiment everything you can and try and find like a way to make it like absolutely like you
Yeah.
just have to experiment more and more things. And I think the Olympics is going to do that because it's just
Well,
going to bring
sixes will be really easy. People will
it.
pick up on sixes and no problem.
Yeah, and
Basically basketball.
it'll bring so many people, more people
Yeah.
into the sport of lacrosse because the Olympics is like all the sports at the highest level, and everyone in the world will see it.
Yeah,
So,
and the reason why I want sixes to really catch on too is because, especially in these new emerging areas that lacrosse isn't big, if you have sixes, you only need 12, 13 kids to have a team.
right.
Whereas, if you play full field lacrosse, you need 20 or you need 22. And I think it's just going to be a lot more accessible for more people.
Absolutely. Who has had the biggest influence on your career?
My college coach, Roy Simmons Jr., I feel like he he taught me so much about the game. He wasn't the greatest coach X's and O's. I mean, he knew enough about the game,
Yeah.
but just the way that he made me feel as a player and how he empowered me and how he made me feel like I could accomplish anything.
Yeah.
I still take all those things with me, even in the broadcasting booth. Like I never feel like there's a game that's too big for me. I never feel like there's a game that, I can't have an impact on. And I take that from Coach Roy Simmons Jr. because he just made myself and all my teammates feel like we could accomplish anything.
Right.
So I think he was the best coach I ever had because he also taught me how to treat people and,
Right.
and making sure that I'm a great teammate. Even to this day, like the people that I work with, my goal is for every one of them to say, like, yeah, he's good at his job, but more importantly, I want those people to say, like, he's a
He's a
really
great
good
person.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's like, my dad's a huge golfer, and he knows all the people like in the pros on the PGA Tour, but he also like, he's a great golfer, but like he also looks at like, are they a good person? Because
Yeah.
that definitely determines like how you see a person for sure.
When I'm done one day and I'm old now, but like when I get old and one day when I pass on, I want people not to be like, oh, he was a great lacrosse player or he was a great broadcaster. I want to be like, wow, that guy was really, really enjoyable to be around. That person
Yeah,
made me feel good about myself. That would be
yeah,
the best thing someone could say.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. If you could change one rule in lacrosse, what would it be and why?
Oof. One rule. Um, that's a great question. I think if I was to change anything in the men's game, I think I would probably want to do something in the college game where there was one shot clock,
Okay.
and it wasn't 80 seconds and then it turns to 60 on a reset.
Right.
I'd,
Right.
I'd want just one shot clock the whole time, like 60
Okay.
second shot clock. So someone who's new that's watching the game doesn't say like, well, why is it 80 at one point and then it's 60 at another? Like I would
Yeah.
like to just have a clean 60-second shot clock
Yeah.
in men's college lacrosse. Like to me, that would be a rule that I would love to see.
Yeah, for sure. So there are a lot of kids my age watching who dream of playing Division One or maybe even being on ESPN one day. What's the best piece of advice you want every one of them to hear?
Love the game. Don't play the game because you want an end goal. Don't play a game because you want to go to Syracuse, or don't play the game because you want to go to Virginia or North Carolina. Play the game because you love it and see where it takes you.
Hmm.
Like have an open mind, see where the game takes you. Like the game, if you love it, will take you to places that will surprise you.
Absolutely.
You can't look at the game as a destination oriented type of journey. It has to be a journey that has no destination. It's open-ended, and you don't know when you turn left or turn right where it's going to take you.
Right.
And then you can enjoy the moments because what happens in life and sports, if you're too destination oriented, meaning like you want to get here, like
Hmm.
you're only going to be thinking about getting there. And when you get there, you're going to miss out on all those great moments along the ride. So
Right.
if you love the game, just see where it takes you.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, that's all I got. So thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed talking with you, and I learned a
This is
lot.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing your career blossom too, because you're a bright young man. I could tell that you love the sport of lacrosse, and
Yeah.
and what you're doing is great too, because each and every time that you do these type of interviews, you're going to get better. You're going to learn about people. You're going to be able to absorb so much more information that's just going to make you a more knowledgeable lacrosse person, but
Yeah.
more importantly, a person that just knows the game and that shares it.
Absolutely. And honestly, I think this is like my 60th episode. Like
Wow,
I've
60.
done it. Yeah, I've done a ton.
Do you,
Um,
you when you do these, do you have any like certain things that you always start with or end with or
I
what?
mean, not really. I kind of play it by ear. I do a lot of like review to see who the person is, like what
That's
they kind of
great.
do.
Yeah. So
But
you're
like when
doing your
people,
own prep. You're doing your
yeah,
own prep.
yeah, I do. Yeah.
There was
So,
one thing I saw when you sent me your prep that was really cool too. I could tell you spent a lot of time. Wasn't there a rapid fire thing?
yeah, would you like me to do it?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
okay. I didn't know if we had time since it was
Yeah, no,
okay.
I saw the rapid fire. The rapid fire
Yeah,
is cool because
for
I can
sure.
only give like a one or two word answer, right? And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, that's
kind of
yeah,
on the hot seat.
it's like the hot seat. All right, we'll do it. Best rivalry.
Syracuse Hopkins,
Okay. Greatest college lacrosse game you've ever covered.
Virginia, Maryland 2021, or North Carolina, Maryland 2016.
Okay. Best college lacrosse atmosphere.
My friends at Syracuse are going to get mad at me if I don't say the Carrier Dome. I think the Carrier Dome in Syracuse is the best experience all in, right?
Okay.
But I think the craziest that I've seen over the last 5 or 6 years is out in Notre Dame because it's a smaller venue and they're
Yeah.
parked like animals on the opposite side. So it feels like a
Yeah.
concert.
Yeah. Best face-off guy you've ever seen.
Trevor Baptiste,
Okay. Best shooter.
Ryan Brown,
Best feeder.
Pat Spencer,
Okay. Best goalie.
my brother Brian,
Okay. Best defender.
Dave Petramala.
Most underrated player.
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say my college teammate Rob Cavavit. He
Okay.
he he left Syracuse. There were only four players all time that had 125 goals and 120 assists. It was the three Powell brothers and Rob Cavavit.
Okay. Jeez, man. All right. Favorite sports movie.
I love that question. Probably Hoosiers. That's too old for you to know, but look it up.
Okay, I
You
will.
should watch it.
Uh,
You'll like it.
Favorite lacrosse stick you've ever used.
The Brian Edge in 1995, my sophomore year. It was the first year they had the offset head.
Okay. Best spot at Syracuse.
I would say it's no longer there. When I was there, Johnny's Pizza.
Okay. PLO or NCAA championship weekend.
Whoa, that's not fair. I love them both. They're just so much, they're so different. Like the PLL, the level is the highest and the skill is the highest,
Mm.
but the atmosphere for the NCAA championship, because you have these colleges that have players from the last 40 years and all their families going there.
Yeah.
The fans are built in for so long. So I'm gonna have to split it. Like the talent of the PLL championship is breathtaking, but the atmosphere for the NCAA championship is also
Yeah. Like
breathtaking.
the alumni at Princeton this
Yeah, they're
year.
crazy.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like this is like it's like they're Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Coffee or energy drink.
Coffee.
Okay. And go to karaoke song.
Uh Journey, faithfully. Look them
Okay.
too.
Yeah. Journey by wait, okay, yeah,
Journey's old school. Your dad
yeah.
will know it.
Yeah. Well that's all I got. So thank you so much for coming on.
Did I
Really
survive the
appreciate it.
hot seat?
Yeah, you did. You survived the hot seat.
Oh, thanks for having me. And
Thank
make
you
sure
so
you share the episode with me. Keep up the great work, bud.
Yeah, I will. So I post it, my mom edits it, and then we put it on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube,
That's
um,
awesome. So you got a
and
whole team. You got
yeah,
mom. What's dad do for the episode? Does he do
nothing.
anything?
No,
So you,
nothing.
you got it. You got to give your mom some props. What's your mom's
Oh,
name? What's your
yeah.
mom's name?
Logan.
Your mom's Logan.
Yeah.
You got to give her like some executive producer type title to that
Absolutely. I
because
will.
the edit's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not easy at all. And then basically, I just post like a clip on Instagram, and I'll share it with you, and I'll invite you to a collaboration. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Looking forward to
Um,
seeing it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and you
Take
have a
care,
great
bud.
night. Thank you.
Yep,
You
be
too.
good.